Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? Well, RPGaDAY 2017 is over. But it's not over for me, because I decided I wanted to answer some of the alternate questions. And I answered 4 of them. I didn't replace the questions that were there with these other questions, but I think it's like day 10, day 20, day 21, and day 28. I slipped in an alternate question as well. And the Casting Shadows blog had a list. I think it was like 5 or 6 questions when RPGaDAY started. And it said, well, keep on checking, there might be more. And so if somebody was stuck with a question, they could just answer one of these alternates instead. And a lot of people did. And I think the list finally got down to about like 15 or 16 questions. And so I'm not going to answer them all. There's some that are completely uninteresting to me, or just I've answered a million times. Like, do I prefer set length or open-ended play? Well, it's me. I like open-ended. End of that could be my video right there. But and there's probably like 4 or 5 that I really find really compelling. But one of them that I'm going to answer today is, how far from human do you enjoy getting the chance to be in an RPG? The reason I'm answering this one first is because on one of the days, can't tell you which one, Tracy Sizemore, ED Soul Media, didn't answer the regular question, said, I'm not going to answer that one. So Tracy answers this question. And great video, commented on it, said that was really cool. Commented that, I have some similarities, and that I'm going to make a video about this too. And so Tracy said, well, I look forward to it. And I'm like, well, now I'm committed. So this is the first one I'm going to make. But, that's no problem. I like this topic. And I've talked about this topic off and on in videos, probably throughout, the last couple of years or what have you. So the easy, simple answer to this question is not very far. I really don't like to. But, let me be more interesting than that and talk a little bit more about why. Now, there's several different facets to this, and probably different tangents. As a game master, I definitely enjoy the chance to have non-human races in the world, or non-human creatures, whether it be some kind of race like the Borg, or I don't know, like the aliens and Xenomorphs from Alien, or the Great Old Ones, all that kind of good stuff, the Cthulhu-esque type of thing. But I can role play them to a certain degree. Maybe I'll role play a vampire. But the farther and farther away from humanity I get, or they get rather, I think I'm going to be a humanity. I'm going to be human for the rest of my life, pretty sure. I can have them do things, but if the players are going to ask me, well, what was their motivation, it becomes less and less clear to me. I just know they're like that. It's like that that kind of trope in like any kind of Lovecraftian fiction, where the motivations of those really alien creatures are just beyond our comprehension. So by default, as a game master, I still can't comprehend it. I just know that's what they do. It's funny, I started out playing just like a lot of people. Back in 1981, the Earth was new; it was still cooling off. We were playing 1978, first edition D&D. 1981 Moldvay Basic, BX D&D, and Menser Basic, and all those games. And we played things like elves and dwarves and halflings, and what is it, half orcs and gnomes and what have you. And every once in a while, somebody would be like really adventurous and play like a hobgoblin or what have you. But let me put this into context. Fast forward, to the age of the internet. So it's probably about like 2010 or whatnot. I'm talking on forums, because there's things like web forums now, and I'm having this discussion. I couldn't tell if it was RPGNet or dragonsfoot.org. I always feel bad when I tell this story, because the person that made this comment, and I can't remember who it was, but there was somebody I liked. We agreed on a lot of subjects. We did not agree on this one, and they made this comment that if you don't have some significant mechanical differences between the races, then essentially what you're doing is you're just humans walking around in elf suits. And I laughed, because what I'm thinking is, I got news for you. We are humans walking around in elf suits. Don't tell anybody. That's what's going on. I understood what they meant. I just didn't. That wasn't important to me. If I wanted to play an elf, the reason I wanted to play an elf really was I wanted to role play an elf. But to be honest, the elves that we played in those games, that I think that people still continue to play to this day. And if you're playing a different kind of game, you're playing some kind of alien from the planet Rizak or whatever, you're still humans walking around in those suits. We're not, for the most part, at least it's been my experience, that I'm not role-playing them as being that much different than human. More than likely they got the 2 arms and the 2 legs and the head. We can talk about the physical stuff later, because that's part of it. But their motivations, were the same as human. Like, maybe I'd play my elf more aloof, or maybe they're longer lived, and maybe they view humans with disdain, and maybe they love the forest, and whatever else it is. But I couldn't have unknowable motivations, because I'm human. I'm a human being. Like I know what human motivations are. I can sit there and play something that's markedly different than me. I'm not a psychopath. I got to do it. In case you're wondering, I'm not an alpha male. I'm not a really athletic person. I'm not the most coordinated person. So it'd be great to play a guy that's not clumsy. I love doing that. I'm not a genius. Pretty smart, but I'm not a genius. I don't have the best social skills, so it's great to play somebody that's had these great diplomatic skills. I'm not stupid. It's a lot of fun to play somebody that's really stupid, that makes really dumb decisions. I've made some dumb decisions, but you get the idea. I can role play people that are, I've had some extreme situations in my life and been heroic a little bit here and there, or underwent adversity and gotten through to the other side. But I can play characters that have are incredible circumstances because I just haven't been in those circumstances. I get to role play. That's part of what role playing is all about. But I know what it's like to be human. We all have the same set of emotions. We all have the same set of motivations, the same set of drives. Everybody's got a dark side. Everybody's got a light side. That's not like Star Wars there, but you know what I mean? So it's easy to kind of do that thought experiment and like, what if I was a nastier person? What if I was a more confident person? What if I had these sinister motivations, or what? You get the idea. It's easy to play a human being, even if they're markedly different than you. And so I found myself, if I'm playing an elf, well, I'm really playing a human being, and I'm trying to give them this personality, but it's not really working. And I find, to me, what happens is, let's say we're playing these like more exotic type races now. Like say I'm playing a tiefling, or some kind of demon human crossbreed, or like, let's say I'm playing some kind of weird xenomorph, some kind of bug race. Really just non-human. Maybe I'm playing like some kind of octopus race, or whatever the heck it is, something really bizarre. There's this point where, like, if I'm playing them like a human being, because I'm a human being putting on one of these other suits at this point, I'm kind of trivializing and familiarizing the weird and anthropomorphizing the alien. And to me, I don't like doing that. I like the idea that there's this big gap, that we experience the world in a different way, that their motivations are kind of unknowable. We can't really relate to each other. Part of the thing I loved about that video, a couple videos back, I think I annoyed some people with the Karen voice, but I don't care because I love that little app on my phone. But that kind of genre mashup I had, where part of the well-used trope, you have some kind of alien race where they're like bugs, or xenomorphs or whatever. They can't communicate. We can't communicate with each other. It's not just a language barrier. We can communicate in terms of like shooting at each other and trying to rip each other apart. We get that. We understand that language. But we just don't experience the world, the universe, life in the same way. We can't. We don't have any common ground. That's why we can't translate anything. We just don't have anything in common with each other. We completely see the world differently. I don't want to trivialize stuff like that by saying, oh, I'm going to play one of those races, and then I'm going to familiarize and anthropomorphize them. I don't want to do that. I feel like I'm not doing justice to that other race. Sounds weird, but maybe you can follow this kind of logic. I really prefer humanocentric games these days, in terms of, not that there's not other races in the world or other creatures, but that's what you play. We play humans. I love doing that in the Lamentations game I played in years ago. Joe the lawyer, he just put on the table, we're just going to play humans. James Edward Raggi actually put the elf, dwarf, and the halfling in the game, I believe, to be like backward compatible. He never uses them in his game. It's like 17th century Europe, for crying out loud. We had them in the game. They were not on the table as player races, and Joe had the freedom to make them incredibly weird, and they were. We could talk to them, but we couldn't understand their motivations a lot of times, and I love that. The one exception I'll make from a player side is transhumanism. That just fascinates me. So like playing an android, playing somebody that's been augmented, maybe they've had their brain kind of augmented as well. I find that very compelling. One of the things that got me too. Like, I love Star Trek. My dad kind of sat me in front of the TV at age 3, said, "You will watch this." I fell in love with Gene Roddenberry's creation, and watched it ever since. And there's lots of things to like about it, but one of the things I really liked was Mr. Spock, and later Mr. Data, and it's a glimpse into my psyche a little bit. But these guys had control over their emotions, or had no emotion at all. Data was able to finally switch it on and off, and Spock, you find out Vulcans have these incredible emotions. They learn to control them and not feel them at all. And that was very compelling to me as a kid, and even as an adult, because sometimes my emotions would take me by storm, and I didn't really like it, and I wish there was an off switch. So I found that really kind of compelling. But I can understand. You can kind of think what that might be like because you're still trying to go for this human experience. You're just like, oh, I'm an android human, if you know what I mean. Once things get really bizarre, I'm not as into it anymore. And in my old age, I kind of prefer my other races to be alien enough or just different enough from humans that we don't play them. Plus, I just like having that. I like having that human experience. I don't mind being humans interacting with the aliens, but I want to play what I know, which is being a human being. So that's my long and probably convoluted answer, but it's the answer. As a game master, I dig it. But even then, I'm kind of guessing at their motivations. Why did the old one crush you all? Well, not that. Maybe I'll crush you all in one of the games. I don't know. That's just kind of what they do. But yeah, that's my answer to that question. It's a question that's or the subject that's kind of near and dear to my heart as time goes on. I like playing humanocentric games. I like playing a human. So that's it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.